Imagine a Chinese person who only speaks Chinese and he calls himself a America expert and he talks on shows, big media shows, and he's very rude and arrogant. And would you take this person seriously? Because the reverse of that is often what we see with China experts in the West. Um, Westerners who only speak English, they will opine and give very confident analysis about China. But without a good grasp of the Chinese language, you're relying on translations and you're not able to really suss out the sources for yourself. In a sense, you do have to take a leap of faith. And so, in the modern world with so much information, that can be problematic. But first, I want to pay tribute to Brad McQuaid, an amazing American video game designer who helped design EverQuest, the game that heavily inspired World of Warcraft. I'm a very critical person in general, but when I talk about China, I am not saying, oh, China's perfect. I love China and I want China to win and I want everyone else to fail. I really appreciate a lot of American and Canadian culture, despite all the other bad stuff. This is Terry Fox, another amazing Canadian and inspiration. And then you have people like Neil Young, amazing musician, but he also calls out the BS. Right? He's famous for talking about the oil sands in Canada, Alberta. How come Canada is not spending more money and resources to expanding and evolving the Canadian native energy production structures? How come we just extract the goods and sell it off? Is it just because it's easy, or is it more nefarious? Is it capitalists being hardcore capitalists and not caring about the people? In general, I tend to sympathize more with blue collar workers. Sometimes I hear white collar workers saying, oh, my job is so hard because I can never turn it off. And it's so mental and stressful. The mental load of my corporate job, the stress that a blue collar worker puts on his or her body, I think overall that is the bigger price to pay. Mental load and stress is certainly tough, and the nervous system, the brain, I treat that as sacredly as possible. But I do empathize with the blue collar workers, and that leads me to my point about all this prejudice and discrimination and race wars that we're seeing. There's a more conspiratorial thought that was presented by a speaker I was listening to. I forget his name, I'm sorry. But he was saying, if you notice all of this heavy conflict between genders and cultures and races being kind of pushed in the mainstream media, this wave really came after the Occupy Wall Street movement, when working class people, retail investors discovered that the elites, the financial gurus, and the people with access to financial levers, they were screwing the working class. No surprise there. But still a big surprise because people in general tried to be good. Humanity tries to be good, but oftentimes the ones with the most darkness have too much control. Money doesn't sleep, the wicked don't rest, their desires are endless. And that's what was my thinking today when I was at the park with my daughter and I was doing some qigong under this beautiful tree here. Take a moment to appreciate beauty when we can. But yeah, there's a lot of discrimination and anger and frustration going on. And people like Victor Davis Hanson, he has a lot of influence and he's acting very flippant and rude on this talk show with peers. Right? You have this Chinese scholar, a serious academic, and he's having a disagreement with Hanson about China. And the Chinese person asks, well, have you been to China? And he responds, well, have you been to the moon? Basically implying that, you know what, your question is stupid. I don't need to go to China to understand China. I don't need to speak Chinese to understand China. I can just get the reports, and that's good enough. I can just get the translations. I trust my translators, and that's it. And I would argue that's not rigorous enough. That's just not good enough in this day and age. There's just so much interest to create ignorance. That's why I believe meditation is the most important thing for everyone. If we could all access our higher consciousness, our center, if we were all endowed with powerful critical thinking and emotional regulation and metacognition, then we would be less exploited as people. I believe we would suffer less as a human race, and things would be better. And that's why I rant about the Dalai Lama, because one of the things he says, one of his teachings I find really problematic. He says sleep is the best meditation. And this is one of his most popular quotes. And I see it all the time, and I hear people talk about it. And I find it really troublesome because you're equating meditation with rest and relaxation. And that's been one of my biggest things that grind my gears. Another thing that really grinded my gears was always social media. I remember when I was in my second year of university, I sent an email to all of my friends and I said, F Facebook, let's all quit or don't join. This is just like rot. This is social rot and garbage, you know. And look at the origins of Facebook and look at who runs it and all this stuff. And I was always on my soapbox, even in my teens and early 20s. And so it's ironic that I'm on social media now, right? But I do admit that it's better to be in the system and have some leverage and influence than to be, well, you can argue for any lifestyle, really. So I'm not going to say what's better or worse, but every position has its pros and cons. And so, why does the Dalai Lama want to put us into a lullaby? Yes, it's true. Sleep is very important, and physical well-being, and blah blah blah. That's sort of the Steelman analysis of the sleep is the best meditation thing. But meditation is completely unique from relaxation. You actually need energy to meditate. Otherwise, you'll fall asleep. And the more time you spend meditating, the more you will find what is meditation and what is relaxation, and you'll define those subjects better. And like I said, you know, I'm usually a mouth breather. My nose is always plugged up, but on good days and with the help of these breathing strips, I can breathe much better. And meditation is all about the breath, and we often take it for granted. And if we could meditate, all of us, we would have more distance from our beliefs, distance from our emotions and passions, and we will see ourselves from more perspectives. You know, maybe like I heard this person say, "Oh, I can't wait to get home later and slay some Chinese people on the video game, on a video game." And I asked him why. Why are you so excited about that? Or what is it about the Chinese that you fear so much? And he admitted, well, you know, I don't really know. But I hear constantly on the media that China is bad. So I get excited about fighting the bad guy. And I can empathize with that position, right? I can understand how a person can get to that position based on all the media they're constantly consuming. So number one point I'm making here after all this rambling is meditation is unique. Don't let them put you into a lullaby and think, oh, this is just relaxation. It's not worth exploring. This is beneath me. This is boring. This is just saying sit there with a thumb up your butt and forget about the world. No, that's not what meditation is. Maybe some people believe that. Like I said before, meditation is a very big word. It's as big of a word as exercise. There are good exercises and there are bad exercises. And then there's a CrossFit, for example. Some exercises bring lots of injury. Probably don't do those unless you want to be really tough and you believe that chicks dig scars or something. Anyways, and the second point I want to make is that I really do believe they are modeling poor behavior for us. When it comes to China, be rude, be flippant, insult your own intelligence. Trust these journalists and politicians who don't speak Chinese, who don't read Chinese, who have a cultural superiority and believe that it's a waste of time to understand China. Trust them. Don't go see for yourself. Don't travel. Travel is becoming more out of reach for some people. Some people don't own a passport because either they're brainwashed to be afraid or their economic situation is very difficult. And I can certainly empathize with that. Once again, I empathize with blue collar workers in general. I feel humans are exploited too much in general. All humans, all skin color, all creeds, all cultures. Too much exploitation. And that's really why I get inspired to make these videos, because all of my meditation have has given me a lot of unique experiences, experiences that some people chase for, and they ask, "Oh, how come Larry gets to have this really great guru? Larry's kind of an idiot, and he looks stupid. Why? Why?" Yeah, here is me drawing the medicine Buddha seed syllable. This is a Sanskrit practice, a meditation practice, if you will. And I really love this medicine Buddha seed syllable, which which I've learned to draw because it kind of reminds me of making a Chinese word, but at the same time, you never stroke the same place over and over in Chinese. But in this medicine Buddha seed syllable, the center section, all the lines kind of intersect there, and I find that interesting. And this seed syllable, you can visualize it, and you can put it in your third eye, put it in your heart, put it in your mind. It is meant to bring you blessings, both mental and physical. Medicine Buddha Baishaja Guru is said to be an alien blue Buddha from another realm, and he wishes she Buddha is kind of beyond gender. She is vowing to eliminate suffering as much as possible so that we can meditate and evolve our mind, soul, consciousness, what have you. You know, we really do live in a bit of a dystopian world, right? So, again, meditation is this unique healing energy that we can access from within. I'm reminded of this Dutch guy, shapeshifter, Rebbe. He makes fun of people a lot. He makes fun of people for being spiritual or having stupid beliefs. And I'm kind of the same way. But I was surprised to hear him say that he practices sun gazing, and he knows that sun gazing is very healthy for you. And there's techniques so that you can look at the sun safely. Wear sunglasses and squint, or make a little sun peephole and do some sun gazing. Very healthy for you. So I believe people are more spiritual than they think, right? I believe the definition of spiritual is you believe you have a soul. That's it. It's not about expensive yoga pants. If you believe you have a soul, you're spiritual. And so this meme format, We've seen this meme format evolve over the years, and look how far we've come. And look at the things that we're laughing at, the things that we sort of normalize, right? I was reading about porn stars rug pulling people with NFTs and crappy meme coins. People lose the farm. People lose their life savings over this crap. And man, I don't know. It's crazy. Single fathers posting on Discord. Oh my god, I lost so much money and I have a 2-year-old. What am I doing? Herpader. And Patrick writes, this is why the most important political alliance on the Asian continent after US decline and collapse is Great Encirclement Treaty Organization. Ghetto. Yeah, this idea of containing China has been for decades. It's Cold War, zero-sum rhetoric. If China reunifies with Taiwan Republic of China, is Beijing going to be like, destroy TSMC and poison the world global chip supply? No, right? All evidence points to no. And it's actually the American elites or semi-elites who have said we should destroy, repudiate TSMC, ameliorate it if the Chinese take China, Taiwan. And it's all Chinese, right? It's all Chinese. Obviously, I'm joking. A bunch of deeply unimpressive politicians are paralyzing Taiwan's democracy for shameful, self-interested reasons. China is the only winner. My column on the Kuomintang KMT-led opposition antics holding Taiwan politics hostage. What a crock of crap, David. And I don't usually support making fun of people's appearances, but you look like you just did 5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms and you think you've solved the world and you're going to usher in world peace and prosperity, and you believe China is this evil, sinful, anti-Christian beast that must be destroyed. No, I'm sorry. China's not perfect, but China is not a beast that must be killed. We can communicate. But maybe a fact of humanity is that we like to fight and we like to make fun and we like to be callous and we like to be cruel to each other. I think a lot of Asians would agree with me that Asian people in general, we have the strongest crabs in a bucket mentality. We like to pull each other down. We like to mess each other up. And, the discrimination that Asians face is the same discrimination that a lot of people face, including Caucasians, including white people. It's not true that you can't be racist to a white person. It's not true at all. I've seen a lot of cruelty done to white people as well, and I think we need to call out injustice and cruelty everywhere we see it. But here is a little factoid from unsettling_roots about what the natives face when they're being told that, this is all your fault. The reason you're in a bad position is because you're bad. This is how they talk to the Chinese as well. And this is how they talk to victims often. And anyone can be a victim and anyone can be a hero. So I wish you all the best. You can meditate. Everyone can meditate. Everyone has a unique meditation for them.